So I've got a bit of story time for you. So if you've seen the title, which I'm assuming you have, if you've clicked the video, I fucked my thyroid. And I've got to do some cleaning in the kitchen. So I thought I'd explain it whilst cleaning the kitchen and get 2 jobs done at once. Create a YouTube video and clean the kitchen so the flat's nice and tidy. But yeah, I fucked my thyroid. I'm going to explain what happened and also where I've been, why I've been a bit more inactive, because I said a couple of months back that I was going to be more active on YouTube, and then I didn't become more active on YouTube because I didn't have the capacity or the function to even make videos, plan them, create them, talk to the camera. So yeah, we're going to get back on it. But while I explain the story to you, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning the kitchen. So if you are new around here, then you won't know that back in 2024, I competed in a bodybuilding show and did 2 shows, and I did a 21-week prep. Now, during that prep, I actually started taking something called levothyroxine, which is a replacement drug for your thyroid. When you essentially get to lower levels of body fat, it's to kind of make sure that you keep your thyroid in check and have them at a stable level so it doesn't continue to stop fat loss from happening. Now, here's where I went wrong. I started taking levothyroxine before getting my bloods done because I was a fucking idiot. to put it bluntly, I was a fucking idiot. And with doing that, I'm just going to move this microphone. With doing that, I started taking it at a point where I might have not even needed to take it, just to keep things stable, to keep things level. Now, as a result of doing that, obviously you're taking something like levothyroxine, which is essentially a hormone, well, it's to replace the hormone when it potentially stops working. Now, when you're doing that, similar to when you take testosterone, it shuts off the gland that essentially is your thyroid. Your hypothalamus pituitary thyroid axis stops working and it gradually starts to shrink because it's already got something exogenously that's replacing it. Now, here's the issue. It's not the fact that I was taking it, because obviously it's not something that you just fuck with, but at that point in time, the risk to reward was there. And it was something that I had the ability to use as a tool within bodybuilding and enhanced bodybuilding. Again, it's quite a commonly used tool. The issue is, when bodybuilding was done, or when I'd finished competing in 2024, I left it too long before I decided to come off. And probably definitely a little bit too long. I finished competing in 2024. I then tried to come off 3 months ago or 4 months ago. And we're now in 2026. That's a long fucking time to be taking exogenous hormones and to have your thyroid completely switched off for that amount of time. So obviously, as a result of that, it's been switched off for a long time, and my thyroid gland has probably shrunk to a very, very small size because it's not needed to be used for such a long duration of time. So I decided, fuck it, let me try and just bring this back up to scratch. Let me just give it a go. I don't want to take this pill anymore if I don't need to. And the reason why I didn't actually come off in the first place, and I probably should explain that, is I should have came off when my body fat levels were in a decent spot, when I'd finished competing, when I was healthier, when my hormones were probably going to be in a better position after just regaining a bit of body fat again. But I didn't, because at that point in time, I didn't want to experience that energy dip, or I had this affiliation with coming off thyroid as having a bit of a dip in energy. And because of that, I just couldn't be arsed with experiencing that. So I just carried on irresponsibly. I know. We make mistakes. I made a mistake. But then I decided to come off after being on for almost 2 years, which was always going to be a fucking difficult thing to do. But I thought, you know what, we're doing it. We're going to come off. I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy levothyroxine anymore. I don't want to be taking it. I just want my body to function normally. I want it to work. But I was taking this for over 2 years, so it was never going to be an easy fucking thing to come off. Never. But I really wanted to, not realizing how bad it actually would be. And let me tell you, it was shit. Because for the first 3 weeks-ish into 4 weeks, I just felt a bit of a dip in energy, which, to be honest, I can deal with out of being at the depths of a prep and felt completely fucked. So the dip in energy was never going to be an issue. So I could deal with that. And I thought, if that's only going to be it, we're out of fucking all-purpose spray. Anyway, I thought if that's going to be it, I can deal with this, and we're going to get things to start working again. So I bought loads of different health subs that are specific for bringing your thyroid back up to scratch, or are going to help with it anyway. And we just started with that process. I just thought, yep, it's going to be an easy feat. I can deal with the energy dips. We are going to get there, and we're not going to be reliant on levothyroxine anymore. But then week number fucking 5 came. Wow. I'd never experienced don't like it. Never experienced don't like it. It felt like I'd been hit with a ton of bricks, and I'd just been, people walking by, and I'd just been completely shit on, because the feeling that I had at that point is indescribable. Is that a word? I think so. But I didn't feel like me. I had no energy. My brain fog was absolutely outrageous, and to do something like create content and speak to the camera was hard. So I was just in fight or flight mode, just trying to survive and just get my business, or just keep my business stable, because that was the most important thing at that point in time. So content became a bit flat, which obviously is not what I want. I want to create YouTube videos. I want to create just short form content as well. And obviously, I was stressed because of that. And it all had this, I just felt stressed and then anxious. I was stressed about the fact that I can't create content, but also stressed about the fact that I can't think properly to create content, worried about the future, and worried about whether I'm going to actually get normal again and feel normal again. And I went to get my bloods done. And the blood's shown that my thyroid wasn't working properly. So I was so my TSH was at a 4.54. Now, your TSH is realistically, the highest it can be is around 4.34, I believe. And when I had my bloods done in 2025, back when I was on PEDs, I was at around 2.2 for the TSH, and my T4 and my T3, or active T4 and active T3, were perfect and in range. This time round, my T4 was in range, but my TSH was out of range. So the doctors said to me, and I explained the situation, and the doctor said to me that it's better off right now if you give it more time before you go on medication. But he was initially willing to prescribe me something, but he spoke to someone else who said just give it a bit more time. Now, I was in a bit of a predicament at this point because, and this is where we're going to get honest, right? I was in a predicament because I could have gave it more time. He said come back in another 6 weeks and see how things look. And the issue is, I'm currently I'm going through a fertility protocol. And me and Courtney are trying right now for a baby. Actively trying. When your thyroid is not working correctly, I'm doing a great job of cleaning here, man, I am. Doing 2 things at once is not my thing. But when you're trying for a baby and your thyroid's not working, it has a negative impact on sperm. Now, my sperm is probably already going to be not in the best of spots because of taking exogenous hormones for such a long time, like testosterone and multiple different compounds. So with my thyroid already, and I'm taking things to kind of counteract that to bring things back up to speed, and no doubt there will be, and I'm going to be getting my sperm checked at the end of this month to see where things are at. But when your thyroid isn't working correctly, that also plays a role in having a negative impact on sperm quality, which I didn't know about until doing some research. But I couldn't risk that. I didn't want to give it another 6 weeks to potentially to get worse and not come back to life, and me needing the medication anyway, which then would be more time for it to come, or for me to come back to life, because this levothyroxine, since introducing it again myself and self-medicating, which you shouldn't necessarily do, but I felt like I had to. I had no other option, because the GP wasn't necessarily willing to help at that point without giving it more time. But I genuinely felt like if I gave it more time, one, I'm putting myself and Courtney in a position where it's going to make having kids even, or like having a child, even harder. But two, the stress and the anxiety that I experienced whilst I was in the sort of the depths of having a shit thyroid, it was awful. It was awful. We can laugh about it now, but I was in the gym at one point, and this is just one of the stories, but I was in the gym and I tried to keep myself to myself, but I had my headphones in. I'm trying to still train, trying to live normally. And some guy walked past me and goes, "Right, mate." I hear it and I go, "Yeah." Just walk off. That's not even a joke. But we can laugh about it now. But there were multiple times where someone would say something, and if I had to be switched on, quick-witted, and reply fast, my brain didn't work that well. The brain fog was horrendous. So I couldn't reply fast. So a lot of the time I was just trying to just keep my mouth fucking shut and just crack on and go about my days. And that's another reason why I jumped back on, because it was fucking awful, to be honest. How that then impacted my day-to-day life when I came off, and like I said, for the first 3 to 4 weeks, it was bearable. But by like the 5th week, I just didn't know what had hit me. I could sleep from, my normal routine is go to bed at 8:30, read for a bit and sleep at 9, and fall asleep at about 9, 10 past 9. Wake up at 6 o'clock, crack on with my day. Sometimes earlier, and I'm just ready to get going. But it was getting to the point where I was going to bed at that time, waking up at a normal time, like I normally would, and I was exhausted. And it was another level of exhaustion that I just couldn't make sense of or hadn't experienced. And caffeine wasn't fixing the situation. Caffeine was just making it worse. It was just kind of giving me a bit of brain function, but making me anxious because I was having to rely on caffeine. And then anxiety was already high, so I was kind of keeping my head down and not wanting to speak to a single person, other than Courtney, because we live together. But I was just genuinely, I was struggling, big time. So yeah, I couldn't give it any more time. It was affecting my day-to-day life. And although the doctors and the GP, and again, some might consider this, and someone watching this might consider it irresponsible. But when I'm in a position where we're trying for a baby, and the thyroid is something that will impact the sperm and our chances of having a baby in this year, I couldn't give it more time. And it's now been over 3 weeks since I've introduced it again at replacement dosage. And over these past, what we on Friday? Since Monday, I've genuinely felt like I'm normal again. Got energy. I can smile without it being a task. I can talk without it being a problem. I'm quick-witted. I can speak to someone can say, "You all right, mate?" And I'm not just going to go, I'm not going to embarrass myself. I can create content again. I can talk to the camera. I can think. And oh boy, it feels good. It feels good. So, yeah. I've not been active because I just physically couldn't. And if I did try to create content, which I did try during that time, it didn't make sense. And I'd go on tangents, and I do that anyway, but I'd go on tangents and then genuinely get lost in my own fucking thought and couldn't carry on. So things needed to be scripted, but then even when it was coming to try and script something, and I hate scripting, but I tried to script things, but then I couldn't even think of topics to talk about to script. So it was just a massive catch-22 and a double-edged sword, and genuinely, it's been a hard couple of months. But over these past 5 days, I feel normal again. I feel back to myself again, and I can start creating content. And yeah, my thyroid being fucked is not because of bodybuilding. It's my fault. It's my fault for not coming off when I should have, for not allowing things to come back on naturally earlier on, and just leaving things switched off for a little bit too long, which naturally, as time goes on, when you are replacing something like a hormone like thyroid with levothyroxine in your body, it will start to produce, well, will not produce it because it doesn't need to. It's switching the gland off, essentially, and it starts to shrink the gland. And again, I'm learning as I go along, right? And I'm making mistakes. And I'm learning from these mistakes. And this, to be fair, is just the story of my life. I make mistakes, I learn from them, and that's why I become a coach. And that's exactly why I do the job that I do. And it's not because I'm perfect, it's because I make mistakes. It's because I do things and then learn from them, and I make sure nobody else makes the same fucking mistakes that I do. I'm actually going to get back to cleaning the kitchen, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. It's going to be, I'm hoping, quite a short one. But if you're new to the channel and you just came on to see what I was talking about and why I was talking about the thyroid, then please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to get cleaning this kitchen. And if you want to check out any other videos, then just click somewhere on this screen and you'll have the most recent video somewhere. So yeah, that is me. Back to business. I'll catch you in the next one.